Hey guys, Laura here, and today I'm going to do the perfect palette tag. And when I first saw this tag on YouTube, I was so excited about it because I'm a hands down palette junkie. I love to buy palette, and I think buying makeup palettes is what keep me really excited about makeup. It's so worth buying and it's just so fun, all the packaging and whatnot. Yep, so if you're wondering where I'm actually just right outside my bedroom. This is my bedroom right here. You guys had told me that I should invest on better lighting and better camera and whatnot, and bear with me for a while that the quality is still not that up to standard yet because I'm still in the process of moving out and settling down with school, a lot of work in school and whatnot. So I moved just outside my room. I hope the lighting is slightly better right here, so bear with me. And without further ado, I'm just going to start with the first tag, which is also the first question. So the first question is the best packaging. Guys, this is the hardest question of them all because I buy palette because of their packaging. Well, mainly for their packaging because all of them are really cute, but I actually narrowed down to 2 palettes in most categories, so I'm going to start with the first one. Alright, so best packaging goes to Too Faced. Yeah, this will come as no surprise for you guys because I always like show my flaunt my Too Faced palette to you guys about how nice and how cute is the packaging. And this was actually the Sweet Dream palette, which came out in last year's Christmas edition. And look at this guy, this is like the prettiest palette that anyone can see. Come on. Yeah, so it has like a really nice cutout detail here, and this is just like a photo frame. I actually display this on my like makeup vanity when I was back in Singapore, and when I have my vanity set up, I will definitely put this in the middle also. So it has this girl, pretty girls, and like a swan, and it has like a balloon, and the eyeshadow actually looks like this. So it's super beautiful. It has a mirror right there, and there's also a sliding drawer here, drawer quotation mark. It has a bronzer, candlelight, somewhat a highlighter, a really nice and subtle highlighter, and 2 blushes which I love. One of them is Sweet Pink, and I've used quite a bit of it, and also some instruction card. Yep, so I feel that the packaging is really pretty, and yeah, it's nice. The eyeshadow are really good also, and it's super pigmented, and yeah, I love it a lot. The second best packaging also goes to Too Faced. Yeah, this is actually the Bronze the Beautiful palette. This was like the first few makeup item that I've bought in my whole makeup career. Yeah, so this is how the packaging looks like. It's like beach theme, and it has 3 bronzer: Snow Bunny, Sun Bunny, and Pink Leopard. And guys, the packaging of this is just too cute that I can't even bear to use it. And it has a really nice kabuki brush also. I mean, it's like beachy and like so summery, and I love it a lot. And it's also quite thin and very durable, so super love the packaging for this. Alright, so moving on to the next category is actually the best color payoff, and a lot of people has been going gaga over Naked palette, and a lot of them also compared to a lot of dupes in the market out there, especially the Lorac Pro palette. I personally never used the Lorac Pro palette, but you guys should really try this one, which is the Too Faced Natural Eye palette. Again, it goes to Too Faced, which is one of my favorite brand. And basically the Natural Eye palette comes in like all the neutral shade eyeshadow, and the reason why this is such the best color payoff is because you guys can like really swatch this, and oh my god, the color is really buttery and really pigmented, and I love it a lot. So yeah, so that's how all the 3 colors looks like. So overall, I think that this is really pigmented, the color is really buttery, and I love it a lot. And as for if I have to think about the second item which has the best color payoff, I'm not going to lie, but the Naked palette has a really good color payoff, and I personally reach out to this a little bit more than the Too Faced Natural Eye because I don't know, I mean the packaging is quite bulky, but I know they already changed the packaging, but I just prefer the packaging for Naked palette slightly more. And another reason is because it has a spectrum of color, more spectrum of color than the Natural Eye. But if I have to choose which one is my favorite, perhaps after I bought the smaller packaging, I think I would love the Too Faced Natural Eye more than the Naked palette. Okay, I don't know, but both palettes are good, and you see which one you'll get more. If you're an Urban Decay fan, go and get a Nikon palette. If you're a Too Faced fan, go and get a Natural Eye palette. So those two has a really good color payoff. And the next category is the most versatile, and for this category I actually only have one. This is the Too Faced In Your Dream palette, which also came out in the Christmas edition 2 years ago. Same with the Sweet Dream palette. And the reason why I say this is the most versatile is because the inside looks like this. So it has an eyeshadow, a blush, and lip color. So I mean, you can do a full face makeup using just this one palette, and perhaps a few foundation and mascara, and you're good. So this is the most versatile palette, and I also feel that the inside of the palette is really magical. I mean, it's like the black background and all the Christmas tree. It's so in the season, and yeah, I just love the packaging. And look at the back, it's also quite pretty. And this, I mean, it's so unique and I love it a lot. It's so versatile also, so that's the most versatile palette. Next, for best for traveling. When I'm traveling, I don't bring a lot of makeup, and I normally when I travel I can't really bother to wear my makeup. So I always carry something which is really minimal, and one of the things that I like to carry is this Too Faced Natural Face palette, which looks like this. As you guys can see, I'm such a Too Faced freak. My favorite brand is actually Too Faced and Tarte, so yeah. So this is how does the palette looks like, and inside it looks like this. So it has a bronzer, it has blush, it has concealer, and it has like highlighter and whatnot. So I love it a lot. I mean, like, you can do full face makeup just using this two palette, and probably you'll need a mascara and a powder and you're good. So yep, I think this is really good for traveling. And even if I'm not traveling, I just like to use this like for a no makeup look, which I'm going to link it down below. And I also like to use it a lot whenever I'm in a rush. So I think this is good for traveling. And the next item that I want to show is something that everybody shows on YouTube. Like, okay, it's actually the Urban Decay Naked 2 palette. Like, when I first saw this tag and I told my friend about it, it was like, okay, I challenge you to find a video which does not feature the Naked palette. And yeah, it's quite impossible. If you see any video of like perfect palette tag without Urban Decay Naked palette, you can just leave it in the comment below, and maybe I'd like to see it. Yeah, so it looks like this. And I know I said that I don't really use makeup when I'm traveling, but probably if I'm traveling for an event or whatnot, or like for a wedding, I like to carry this palette with me. And the reason why I chose the Naked 2 instead of the Naked one is that because the packaging for this is more sturdy. As you can see, it's thin, and it's like a lip lock over here. And yeah, the inside of the palette looks like this. I haven't been using a ton of it, but so far I've been loving the color payoff. I mean, you can do a lot of like eye makeup using 12 of these eyeshadows, and you can use it for smoky eyes and then natural eyes, and just maybe for eye contouring. So I love it a lot, especially for traveling. Alright, so moving on, the next category was the biggest regret, and this was quite hard also for me, because whenever I buy a certain makeup product, I'll think through it really carefully. Because first of all, makeup in Singapore is slightly more expensive than the US. Actually, it's more expensive than the US, especially drugstore makeup. So I think about it really carefully. But if I have to pick up one makeup product palette which I regret, is actually this Coastal Scents 15 piece eye concealer set thingy. Yeah, so the whole concealer set looks like this, and the reason why I regret buying this is that I don't use this palette a ton. Like, you can see the black spectrum of it, I barely touch it. And they also have another reason why I wanted to get this palette at first is because this has a green and like a violet concealer, as you can see over here. And I thought I will use a ton of it, but in the end I don't really use it because my skin is generally quite clear. And I mean, I do use this on my clients sometimes, but this does crease a lot and it dries up really quickly. So I tend to use a better concealer on them. I mean, I don't know, I always save the best on my client, and I like to use like expensive concealer on them. And since I live in Asia, the colors, especially Southeast Asia, the color spectrum is not that wide. So I guess if you already have 3 concealer, you can just mix them all together to get a perfect shade for your clients, so you don't really need a whole bunch of them, especially 15. And honestly, this really creases a lot and it dries up, and it's really hard to work on the customer. And I don't normally use skin, like I don't use finger or walnut on my client. I always use brush, and if I don't use my hand to warm this up first, it's really tacky. So I guess this would be my biggest regret because I no longer use it. Alright, so next is best color names, and this was also quite hard because most of my palette has a really cute name, and I have to choose. If I have to choose one, this would be the one, which is the Urban Decay Alice in Wonderland palette. And you guys know this is like one of the most precious items which I have, and the inside looks like this. It's super pretty and whimsical, and the palette looks like this. Yeah, and let me read you the color. It's like so whimsical. It's like Wonderland, Alice, and White Rabbit, and Mushroom, Midnight Tea Party, and Mad Hatter. So I think the color is really magical and it's really pretty. Overall, I really love the palette. This is like my favorite palette in the whole world. So yeah, and it has a really cute name, so that will pass it as the best color name. And the second palette which has the best color name is this Too Faced palette in Love Sweet Love, and I got this in last year's Christmas edition from Too Faced, and the whole color spectrum looks like this. The name is Vanilla Sugar, Ganache, Burnt Sugar, and the blush name is Lollipop and Bubblegum. So I think it's really sweet. Like, I mean, it has all like the dessert name in it, so I like the name from this palette. And yeah, so that's that. Alright, so the next category is the least used palette. Yeah, and I also don't really like answering to this question because I do think through very hard when I buy something, like especially for makeup. But you have to like name two of my least used palette. Like, I mean, it's like the least used out of all the palette that I have. It's not as if I don't use it at all. So it's actually the Urban Decay Sustainable palette, which looks like this. This was the first few makeup item which I got at Sephora also, and the reason why I got this palette because they say that it's like eco-friendly. And if you guys may not know, I'm actually an environmental freak. Yeah, I really care about all this global warming stuff and whatnot. So when I see this being cruelty, no cruelty to animal, and being like earth friendly, I get it. But as you can see the color inside, it looks like this. I mean, it's a very beautiful color, but it has like no category. Like, yeah, I mean, it has no category, so I don't tend to reach out to this palette a lot. And this brush is not really good. I don't really like it. And another problem which I have with this is that this is magnetical and this is kind of getting rusty already. Yep, but overall the packaging is really cute, and yeah, I do use this sometimes also. Alright, so another makeup item which I don't really reach out to is this Too Faced Leopard Love palette, which looks like this. And this is essentially a bronzer palette. Yep, I've tried to use it a little. As you can see, I still have the plastic on. It shows how much I use it already. And yeah, the reason why I don't reach out to it because this is really shimmery. I mean, the bronzer is really pretty, but the blush and the highlighter is really shimmery, so I find that it's quite hard for me to work with. But the packaging is cute and I still do use this sometimes. Alright, and the last category is the most loved and most used, and Desert Island. For this last category, you guys probably are hoping for the Vava Voom effect, like the most wow palette, but I have to give you a humble reply to this. It's actually the Naked Basic palette. Yeah, so this is my most loved, most used palette. I use the most out of this, and I give you a review and like a tutorial on it. It has 5 matte shade and 1 shimmery shade, and this is like practically the makeup palette which I can say that I use this at least twice a week. So that's how much I love it. And if I were on a desert island, probably this is a palette which I will take with me. Yeah, and it's cheaper, relatively cheaper than most of the palette which I've shown so far, and I love it a lot. And another palette which I love, and you guys who can obviously tell is actually the Urban Decay Alice in Wonderland palette, which I've shown in the best color name. I mean, the color payoff is good, the packaging is good, the name is cute, and like it has like all the goodness in it, so I love it a lot. And yeah, I think it's really magical, and the color is good, although I can't bear to use all the color. Like you guys can see that I barely touch it because it's just too precious to me. So I really like this palette. If I lost it, I'll cry because it's limited edition and I can't get it anymore. Yep, so that's the perfect palette tag. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I tag all of you to do it, and I'm also going to like tag some specific people at the down bar below and maybe like put it down here. Yeah, remember to like my Facebook page and also subscribe if you want to see more video. So that's all about the video today, and see you guys next time. Bye bye.